Hi everybody, I'm Taluka from Markers and Minions. Welcome to my Facebook group, Benchmark Advanced Planning, Organization, and Tips. I have a lot of new members and I just wanted to introduce myself. This is my Facebook group that I run, that I've been moderating since last August, and every Sunday evening, I film live videos, and normally they're planned with me. Sometimes they're on other topics. I also have a Facebook page that's Markers and Minions that is just everything that I do, everything that I create, not just Benchmark. I'm also on YouTube and Instagram, and then I have my own website, markersandminions.com. So, Taluka, Markers and Minions, same person. It's all me. And today is episode 16 of Plan With Me, and we've made it to Unit 10. I'm going to just be doing the unit overview. I'm not going to go down into the weeklies, but if you haven't seen these before, these are my planning templates, and these are available on my TPT shop for free. You can download these however many times you need, and then these help you map out your units. And that's what you can use to follow along with my videos. A couple of updates that I have. On my TPT shop, I updated the writing booklets because I was getting a lot of feedback over the last, I don't know, what has it been, like 4 or 5 months or so, about the prompt. Some people like to use the student prompt. Some people like to use the teacher prompt, because in Benchmark we have 2 prompts that we're supposed to teach. Some of us like to just choose one or the other. And then like in my case, a lot of the times I was whiting it out and kind of putting my own variation of the prompt up there. So those are now editable. You can put whichever prompt you like in that box in the writing booklet. Yay! So those are editable for grades 2 through 5. The first grade booklets, those are staying the same because there's no prompt. And then also I'm almost done with the kinder writing booklets. I'll be done later this evening. And so those will go up either tonight or tomorrow. Let's see. I am going to be bundling them for people who want all the grade levels. If you teach multi-grade levels or, whatever, I'll have K through 5 in one bundle for you. So that's exciting. I'm also working on a 6th grade focus wall. I've heard you, 6th grade teachers, so that's coming very soon as well. On my website, I've got a section that's just my blog, and it's basically anything and everything, but definitely more benchmark related on my blog. So I was wondering, now that many of you have made it through a year with me and you've been implementing for some time now and you're, figuring it out, I was wondering if anyone would be interested in doing some sort of like guest blogging on my website so that it can feature more voices, not just mine. I have the perspective of a 3rd grade teacher, but I have TK to 6 in this Facebook group, including TOSAs and admin. So I'd love to hear other perspectives and provide you with a platform to just share what you think that others might benefit from. So I think that would be pretty cool. I saw that on another website once where there was like this guest blogging feature, and I loved that. So I hopefully some of you all are interested. You all love writing this summer. Let me know, and I'd love to feature you on there. And then of course, like, I can incentivize it too. You can download one of my products for free or something like that. But yeah, I want to expand on that. Also, I've gotten feedback on organizing the files. It's been a while now, I know, and I haven't found the perfect platform yet. I'm hoping that in the next couple weeks, I'll have a solution to our problem of not being able to organize by grade level or filter by grade level within our group's files. So people share these awesome resources, but then they might not always say what the grade level is or what the unit is in the title. And then, so as you're going through a list, there's no folders. Facebook doesn't give us the capability, the option to do that. So I'm looking at a Google site. I'm thinking Google is going to be the best option. The problem with Google is that in order to upload, everyone would need edit access, and then there's a lot of potential issues with modifying or deleting people's uploads. So we're going to figure it out. Yeah, Google Drive folder, that's the problem, is that there's a lot of room for error in Google Drive to either modify, delete, or move content. So I feel like I would have to be doing a lot of recovering files. And also, Google Drive only lets you have a certain amount of space for free. And so I'm also looking to see what are my cheapest options. So it seems like someone in our group recommended a Google site. And it would just have to be moderated by me, I guess. And I'll just take whatever's uploaded in the files here and I'll put it onto a site. And then hopefully it's not going to be too much work, but it'll be worth it. Let's see. So big news for next year. I've had 4 conferences now. They've been great. Each one has been better than the last. I feel like I'm in a groove now and I know how to do this. I know how to teach to a group of like 120 teachers for the most part. And I want to keep doing that for next year. I'm pretty pregnant. I'm going to be, yeah, Ricky, we'll have a guest admins. I'll have my assistant be an admin with me. So I'm going to be having a baby in about 6 weeks. Then I'm taking a maternity leave, an extended maternity leave, and then a leave of absence. So all next year, I'm going to be off, and I'm going to be doing this. So this has turned into a full-time job. This has become more demanding than teaching. So I'm going to be home next year and be with my babies, and then also focus on doing more of these workshops and moderating this forum for all of us. Let's see. So that is the big news. Hi, Lily. Everyone meet Lily. That is my assistant. She helps me with everything. She helps me make everything possible. All right. So this is my final plan with me. We've made it to the end of the year. Wow, how exciting for you. Thank you, Kelly. I know I'm excited and I'm nervous. And I already told my partner teacher that I'm going to be coming in and teaching her class and taking over her class. She can't keep me away. Kim, will you be creating more resources? Yes. That's what I love to do. And I've been itching to get back to it. It's just been crazy with, being a full-time mom and being a full-time teacher and then doing these workshops that involve traveling and all that. And I've been missing what made me start it all, which is like just being on my computer, zoning out and making fun resources. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that. I'm working on my next line of products, which is going to take a really long time, but it's the close reading companions. So that's my next goal. Nina, hi Toluca, can you repeat the announcement? You know it. I'm taking next year off. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Stacy. Okay. Let's see. So final plan with me, Unit 10. Some of us are doing it. I think most of us aren't. I have 4 days left of school. We're just working on our, next week tomorrow. It's going to be really fun. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with the kids. They're going to be, all morning is Teach the Teacher, with that cute little activity that circulates around Pinterest around this time of year. So I have 6 kids a day doing a little lesson. And I taught the kids that they needed an intro or like a hook, and then their lesson, and then they needed guided practice and independent practice. So some of my kids are coming with like quizzes and videos and really cute stuff. One of my kids is going to teach us how to make tacos, and he's supposedly bringing in enough fixings for us to make tacos along with him. So we're doing that next week in the morning, and then in the afternoons we're working on our end of the year portfolio, which is this little thing I created. Instead of doing an end of the year memory book, I like to pull out I call it my brag binder, and it has like pictures from the last, the last 10 years really, and all my letters of recommendation and awards and just anything that I'm proud of that I can brag on. And I show the kids that, and then they make their own portfolio. And I encourage them to bring in some things from home, like copies of Student of the Month awards and things like that. And then I write in a little letter of recommendation, and then I give it to their 4th grade teachers. So that's my week next week. Let's see. So not going to be teaching this, but this is a neat unit. It's a science-aligned unit. It's forces and forces and interactions. So we've already done this topic in science using our Mystery Science subscription, but this is a neat little extension of that. It's a good resource. Okay, and our essential question for 3rd grade is, how does understanding science help us achieve our goals? In this unit, students will read and compare selections that investigate forces, motion, and magnetism. So this is where I got that information from that inside cover there. Thank you. Oh, I can't believe it. In 4 days, I'm going to have a year off. That's crazy. Okay, let's see. So for week 1, I'm looking at the week 1 mini lesson breakdown. Starting in 3rd, it looks like this. We've got a weekly breakdown that lines it up by lessons 1 through, 14 or 15? Should be 15, yeah. 1 through 15, we've got 15 lessons. Now, if you're in K1 or 2, you're going to have more lessons than that because you've got all of these phonics lessons. And your weekly outline or breakdown is going to look like a 2-page spread, where it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or like day 1 through day 5, something like that. So that's basically the equivalent. I like to look at this because it shows me what my reads are. It shows me what close reading skills go with the read. And then it breaks it up by writing, word study, which is our phonics in upper elementary, and then the cross-text analysis lesson whenever they're comparing and contrasting. So week 1, I see read and respond to poems. I'm going to put respond to poetry. Seems like most of the poetry has been in the last 3 units. Unit 2, and then the last 3 for 3rd grade. And then we've got genre features of poetry. And then imagery, non-literal language. For a short read 2, it's not a poem. It looks like an informational text. It says key details, main idea. That's always the first thing you do after you read a text. Dictionaries to clarify word meanings. So that to me sounds like a vocabulary lesson. Yeah. So I'm going to pull that out and put that at the bottom. We're going to be using dictionaries. And then we've got genre features of a procedural text. Procedural text. And then finally, that last lesson is that comparing and contrasting the experience of reading poems and scientific texts. All right, I'm just going to put compare contrast. So I don't always have enough lines here. The amount of lines does not correlate or doesn't mean anything for the amount of mini lessons that you've got. So that's a lot. Normally it's packed, a bunch is packed into week one. I'm going to, sometimes I like to go this way. Most of the time I think I like to go this way, but I'm going to just go down this way. We've got our word study, or our phonics skill, is compound words. Our language skill, which is embedded into the drafting for the week, is going to be, let's see, and it's a research unit, so we don't have our typical draft on day 4. Evaluate your research. It doesn't even say. So that I'm going to refer to the spelling, vocabulary, and grammar handbook, language handbook that I have to figure out what the skill is. Just look at the pamphlets and see what it aligns with. And the writing is going to be a, let's see, what kind of research project? Opinion. There we go. Starting in second, we've got these genre writing units in 8, 9, and 10. So all 3 weeks are going to be the same research prompt carried throughout. These are the best. This is 3rd grade. All right, let's see. Week 2. Looking at this view, we've got key story events and summarize for our extended read. And I like to teach that all in one lesson. I don't like to break it up over 2 lessons typically. I find the writing prompts to be very difficult for my English language learners. They are really tough. They're long, they're wordy, and that you really need to analyze it with them. Do you color code it when you analyze it with them? The announcement is that I am taking next year off to be full-time mom and full-time Markers and Minions. Welcome, Michelle. It feels crazy to finally say it out loud. It was just approved. My leave of absence was just approved last week. We've got a vocabulary focus, and it's going to be distinguished shades of meaning. And then we've got more imagery, and then drawing inferences. Okay, imagery. And normally when I see that, okay, so I have a skill that spirals now. I've got imagery, an imagery lesson in week 1 with a poem, and then I've got an imagery lesson in week 2. But this is not a poem. It's just analyze the effect of literal and non-literal language on imagery. So I'm not going to put a spiral because those lessons I feel like are going to be different, and I'm going to want to teach both of those. and then drawing inferences. So of course, these ones, the key details, the main idea, and then the key events and summarize, I am going to put a little spiral sign there just because that is the same skill. Let's see. I wish that there were more writing prompts to choose from and that meet the needs of our second language learners. Yeah, beyond the teacher and the student prompt. A lot of the times I end up just like writing a variation of it. So sometimes I feel like they're unnecessarily long, so you can take some things out. But with the writing booklets that I have, and even without the writing booklets, before I made those, I would just do it on the whiteboard. But now in the booklet, I'll put the prompt, which is now, for those of you tuning in, which is now customizable. It's editable. You can actually type the prompt in. I'm not forcing you to use the student prompt anymore. And then my students use 3 colors, and they analyze just 3 parts of it. Now, the first lesson in the writing program each week is always analyze the prompt. And the benchmark has you analyzing a ton of different things typically. And I've narrowed it down to just the main topic, the type of writing, and the sources needed, the sources used. And so it's like red, green, and blue. And they read the prompt with me, and they underline what they think is the main topic. The what are they writing about with red? We talk about it, we digest it, and then we move on to the type of writing, and they look for clue words inside the prompt. So if it's an opinion prompt, a clue word would be reasons. If it's narrative, you might see something like journal entry or story or problem, solution, whatever, something like that, or informational facts, details. So my kids know that there's the 3 main types of writing. I teach them those, and that there's a lot of types of writing that fall within those 3 big categories, but we just stick to those 3 big ones. So we'll underline with our color the clue words, and then we'll write either narrative, informational, or opinion. And then we move on to sources, where they underline whatever source benchmark wants them to be pulling evidence from. And that's it. And that is my whole mini lesson, and it makes it so that it's a little bit more organized and concrete for the kids, because otherwise if you just give them that prompt, it's tough and it's abstract. Especially because you teach 2nd grade, right? So those babies are little, and this is the first time that they've seen a full-on prompt like that. In K and 1, they're writing every single day, and it's normally like add an illustration, draw a picture, write a sentence that has to do with whatever the kids read that day. So in Kinder and First, there's a lot of reinforcement to writing to sources, writing to a text, responding to text is the word I'm looking for. And then when they get to 2nd, they've got that long extended prompt where they're writing to a source all week long. You're welcome. Okay, our word study is going to be suffixes ing, ment, and ness. And then I'm just going to draw an arrow for the writing type to show that the research prompt is carried throughout. Yes, Benchmark does a great job of finding key ideas and main idea. Key details and main idea. Yeah, it does. You do it every week in some way. That's the first lesson. You read a text. That's the first thing you teach them, is pulling out the key details or the key events. What's interesting that I noticed this year is my kids have it down. They can justify their answers very well too. I don't even use the TRS for those lessons because most of the time I'm wrong, if I'm going off of benchmark suggestions. If the kids can justify to me why it's a key detail, why it might advance our story, or why it might give us important information, then great. Like they've met the objective. And it seems like in class they're able to pull up or separate key details from like smaller details. But then when it comes to taking a test, that's where it's a challenge, where on like the SBAC, they have their part A, part B questions. So the part A is like, what is the main idea of paragraph blank? Or what is the main idea of this selection? And then part B is choose a detail or choose two details that support this, your answer to part A. That's where it gets tricky. And so that's something that I found that I needed to work on once I felt like my kids understood this skill in our mini lessons. Then I was like, okay, guys, let's translate this. Let's put this into a test question and see what this looks like. And that's the reason why I'm working on these close reading companions. I feel like that lacks, or my kids don't see that connection. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then that language, I'm going to have to refer to the pamphlet, the handbook. So week 3. Investigate magnetism. We have packs of 30 of these little books, these little magazines, and I just pulled out the Unit 10 ones, and I told the kids, like, look, we're not going to be doing Unit 10 the way that we've been doing the other units, but you're welcome to take this book home. It's yours, and you can annotate and practice this summer. And I told them it's all about, like, forces and magnets, and they were so excited. And I have a set of 30, and I have 24 kids, and my kids were like, can we have extras? It's so cute. They're excited to work this summer. Week 3, we got our key details, main idea, because it's informational. Identify multiple text formats. I'm just going to write text formats. Analyze procedural text again. So I'm going to put a little spiral sign. That is going to be procedural text. That's going to be in week 1 and week 3. And then we have inferencing again. So that's in week 2 and week 3. The phonics skill is introduce related words. What does that mean? Oh, okay, so like inventor, invention, problem, problematic. Related words. And there's no vocabulary focus for the week. Okay, let's see. Let me pull up my online Benchmark Universe to see if there's a language skill that we can practice, even though there's not one in the TRS for this research unit that I can see. So I'm filtering by grade and unit, and I'm going down to practice. And then I have my grammar, spelling, and vocabulary activity handbook. Activity book. I never say that right. Unit 10, week 1. Whole bunch of stuff. Comparatives, superlatives, verb tenses, compound words. I'll review. Week 2, punctuating dialogue. My students did so well on their interim 4. I just have to brag for a second. The dialogue thing reminded me because their interim 4 was the same test as in the beginning of the year. It tested them on end of the year standards. They had to write a narrative and, about the time they visited a national park and they saw a bald eagle, and they were given the text to use as evidence was 2 informational texts about the bald eagle. And in Unit 7, we talked a lot about not just dialogue, but purposeful dialogue. And I taught my kids, that means that it's dialogue that advances our story. It tells a little bit more about our story. So in Unit 7, they had to write about either going to their trip to Farmersville, their trip to Los Angeles, or their trip to St. Louis. And they had to have a line of dialogue in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end of their story, their narrative. And it had to had to incorporate evidence and tell about the location. So we were like, we can't just use, hey, how are you? Or whatever. Their dialogue had to be like, do you hear that? Listen to all those languages being spoken, or some information that they pulled from what they read. And so when they took their interim 4 and they wrote their narrative for that, their dialogue was so good. And it was like, and I asked my dad, why are they called the bald eagle if they're not bald? And things like that. It was really cute. My kiddos did really well on that. I had an average of 70%. In the beginning of the year, it was 45%. So growth. So this is the language for all 3 weeks that I pulled up from that activity book. Bam, bam, bam. I'll review. I don't have a vocabulary focus for week 3, so I would default to doing context clues that week, just to make sure that we are looking at tricky words in our text. Let's see. I love Unit 8, 2nd grade. The kids are learning so much about the natural disasters and weathering and erosions. We've been implementing science and art activities. I know, your pictures are so fun. It looks so neat. Unit 8 is awesome. Kids love the natural disasters and hazards. I hope you come to Anaheim soon. Yes, that makes the most sense, is to go down that way. I'm going down to a district in San Diego. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be in 2 dates, one in August and another in September. And then at some point, I'll do something down in the OC. I try to connect the reading of the topics by Skyping to museums and other places. For example, this week we will Skype with the Wyoming and West Museums. That's awesome! Yeah, and in Unit 3, you can do Skype sessions with zoologists. It's really cool. We had a PD a long time ago in my old district that was all about Skyping museums and I think it was park rangers too, at national forests and stuff. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, there's some kind of cool website where you could set that up. I had not this year, I don't think it was the year before. I had a maybe she was a zoologist. I don't remember what the technical word for that is, but she would go and do research, and she went and did research in Madagascar, and she studied meerkats or something, and she brought in all her research for the kids. Microsoft EDU. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Is this a free? Oh no, that's not what I want. I can't find it. But I've only looked for 2 seconds, so I'm not going to be like an 8-year-old and say, I can't find it. Microsoft EDU. Here it is. Virtual field trips. Skype in the classroom. Oh, how cool. So you have to be a member. You can probably have a free trial, right? Guest speakers. Okay, find guest speakers, virtual field trips, Skype collaborations, Skype lessons. Is this where you do the mystery Skype? And then Skype lessons. That is really cool. So you have to have a smartboard for that? Hi, Larry. It's free and so worth it. Awesome. Thank you. Do you pronounce your name Quinn? That is a really cool website. Here, let me put a link. This is what I found. I'll link it in our comments. So that's where you can do your mystery Skype also. I see people setting up mystery Skype connections all the time in like the other like 3rd grade Facebook groups that I'm part of. That's so fun for the kids. Larry, it was nice meeting you yesterday, and thank you for my card. All right. I'm going to hold up my overview one more time. Where did I put it? Did I already lose it? And I will take a picture, upload it to the group photos. It has vanished. This is on my Unit 9. As a reminder, if you share awesome photos, we have a photo section of our group that's filtered by unit. And I like it filtered by unit rather than grade level because it shows how each topic builds on each other. And there's that content that's being, here it is, that content knowledge that's being built on with each grade level. So we can see the projects that you're doing at each level and how you're connecting them to other areas. And so people can steal your ideas. So if you have fun photos to share, check out that Photos tab. And this is the Unit 10 overview for 3rd grade. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging with me for all 16 episodes of Plan With Me. We're done. We made it. I don't know what we're going to do next year, but we'll figure it out. If you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments, and then I'll go through and I'll start answering some of these questions or comments in text so that anyone who doesn't watch this video can just read through our comments. Thank you for hanging out and have a good week. Those of you that are having your last week, hang in there, enjoy, soak it up with your kiddos, and see you soon.